The Takeover.
Okay, did we start? Yeah, we did. That's how I start.
Takeover.
Now, there's a lot of things we're gonna get into. When I speak, and when I speak, and when I speak.
This is the Takeover.
Here we go. What's up? What's up? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? I can hear me. All right, guys. All right. Did we start? Yeah, we did. You know what? If I want to start the podcast like that with that ongoing joke, then I'll do it. And if you don't like it, skip 15 seconds. Maybe skip 15 seconds. Skip 15 seconds because I need to assure that everybody knows we started. But obviously you know we started because you can hear my voice. But maybe you didn't know we started. Maybe you're like, oh, he left this part in. Maybe he left this part in and he doesn't know that he left this part in. And so he wants to let us know that the podcast has actually started and he's not just testing the levels. So this is me testing the levels, and the levels look good. I can hear myself. You guys can hear me. So the podcast started, and now we are good to go. And if you don't like that part, move on. Move on. We got orange skies. There's an orange glow outside of LA today. There's an orange glow. I don't know if you call it orange, but there's like a little bit of a glow outside when you walk outside. And there's ash everywhere. There's ash on cars, and I'm in West Hollywood. And there's no fires near me, but the fires are all over California that they bring the ashes down in a front comes down. I'm a weatherologist. I'm a meteorologist. You think I can't be a meteorologist? Listen. This is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be today because I'm in a weird mood and I have fun energy. I'm having a good time. I'm going to kick my feet. I'm going to kick my other foot. I'm going to kick my feet together. And that's a fun time. I'm having a good time and I'm happy even though there's a weird glow in the sky. You walk outside and you're like, whoa, it feels like it's like a little, like if I could describe what the sky looks like, it would be an orange flavored Milano cookie. I can't get more specific than that. Like if you know what I'm talking about, then you're on board with me. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to experience a Milano cookie. First of all, Milano cookies are some of the best cookies ever invented in the history of life. And I'm not gonna get too upset about it if you don't know what it is, but I'm gonna have some coffee. And we went with a nice Americano today, as opposed to a hot coffee that I usually go with, that I go, hey, it's kicked in. And, you know, iced Americanos I prefer, but sometimes I have a Keurig, and then I'll just have a hot coffee, and then I'll do the podcast, and then it kicks in, and then here we are speaking too fast. Sometimes we speak so fast that I'm going to have to add captions to all my podcasts so that you guys, you know, if you're watching, you're like, oh, that's what he meant. Now, again, I don't want to get off topic because we don't have it here again, but here's the deal. It's like an orange-flavored Milano cookie. Now, there's different flavored Milano cookies, right? There's different flavors. You have mint. You have original. You have raspberry. You have orange. And then there's probably a couple others that I'm leaving out. But I'm going to let you know, I grew up, and I remember I had them. My grandma would always have them at her house. And then sometimes my dad would get them. And sometimes I would eat a whole bag of them in a night. Because I was a fat motherfucker. And I like being a fat motherfucker kid. Okay? Because I liked eating. And I would have Doritos too. I don't care. You know what? Looking back, what a pleasant life I had. So I'm happy. Okay? I'm happy that it turned out this way. But I enjoyed the orange flavored ones. It's not like how you're thinking. If you've never had a Milano cookie, you're probably thinking, okay, orange flavored cookie, that sounds disgusting. It's not like that. A Milano cookie, all right, it has like a little chocolate, a white chocolate and a dark chocolate in the middle of the soft, you know, cookie outside, and it's shaped like a giant pill. Like it's like an, I don't know what that shape is. It's like a long rectangle-y circle, okay? They all look the same, but there's like a little aftertaste they add to it, whether it's mint, raspberry, orange. Original's awesome, but I like the orange. I would enjoy the orange growing up as a kid, so it's my favorite. So if I had to say, what would an orange Milano cookie look like if I was to like see it as not a cookie, as like an actual, like a color, like a glow, you know what I mean? I would say that's what outside looks like right now, because it's not orange. It's not like an orange like this chair. It's just like a little faint, hazy, feels like it's orange, but it's not orange. It still looks like, beige with the chocolate and the vanilla. It's just an orange Milano cookie outside right now. And there's ash everywhere. So all I can really say to that is support your local senators. Now, what does that mean? What does that really mean, what I just said there? Am I being immature and silly and making no sense? Yeah. But I like to not make sense. I like making not sense, and I like saying things in weird ways, because then that makes you as a listener go, nothing matters in life, and I am just enjoying sound. That's what you're doing. If you're watching the podcast, you're enjoying sound. If you're listening to the podcast, you're just enjoying sound. That's what we're here for. Hey, listen to my voice. Sound. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's just a good time for sound listening and enjoying the orange Milano cookie outside, which it's not. It's weird to enjoy the color of the sky, because it's a bad thing that's happening. There's fires all. California's on fire, so pretty much it's over. So I got to get out of here. It's about to burn down, and I'm gonna have to move to a different place. Maybe, I don't know where I'll go. I'm gonna be in Denver this weekend. I'm doing a charity event show, secret show in Denver Saturday with Fahim Anwar, and nobody can get in. I can't get anyone in. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just telling you for no reason. But at least you learned about orange-flavored Milano cookies, okay? That's a big deal. There's a lot of other things that are a big deal today, because it's Thursday, and if you're listening to this episode, it's probably Friday, it's going to come out today too, so it's just later in the evening if you're listening to this. But the point is, Thursday is great because football season starts tonight, and I'm excited about that because it's a big part of my life. I revolve a lot of what I do around football, with fantasy, paying attention to what's going on in the league, watching sports shows, just being obsessed with it. It's something that consumes my life. Sports consumes my life a lot. I've realized that it consumes 25 to 35% of my life, as opposed to stand-up consumes 65 to 70% of my life. So basically my life is stand-up and sports. But guess what? We don't have stand-up as much right now, so I have a lot of time to put into other things, okay? Like video games. I'm lying about the percentages. It's obviously got to be spread out a little bit more, because there's video games, there's dating, there's hanging out, there's stand-up, there's sports, and then there's like maybe a 10-minute phone call to my mom once a week. Should I give her more time? Yeah, but you got to understand, sometimes you got to understand my mom's a bad person. She's really bad. Growing up, she used to molest me. My mom would molest me and put cigarettes out on my arms, and she used to abuse me. She would verbally abuse me. And one time she locked me in our garage refrigerator. She pulled out all the shelves, and my mom put me in the refrigerator and closed it and locked it and left me in a 40 degrees. It was like 30 degrees, 40 degrees in the fridge. She left me in there for 12 minutes. I remember she's like, if you can stay in there for 12 minutes, I won't ground you. So I had to stay in there, and it wasn't so bad because this was right. She put me in the refrigerator right before she smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and she put out a cigarette on my leg and it was burning, but then she put me in the fridge. It kind of cooled it off, so it was better. But she was very abusive. She was a horrible mother. Abusive verbally, physically, until I got to about like 14. Then she stopped like hitting me as much because I think I started getting a little bit stronger, but sexually abused me until I was about 9 or 10. Now, Mom, I know you're listening, and that was the first time I've ever exposed you, and I hope that you feel sorrow and you're ashamed of what you did. I know that you've grown as a person, but I had to clean out my closet, Mom, and I just wanted the world to know what kind of person you really were. So that being said, I've grown to forgive her, and I love you, Mom. And here we are. We're back. Thanks for listening. Wow, she's going to be so mad that I said that. And I'm not going to cut it out. And by the way, if I offended anyone, fuck off, okay? People get offended if you even make jokes about stuff like that. They're like, well, how could you joke about that? What about me? I was abused. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'm just doing this for a little pure entertainment of embarrassing my mom. So I'll do like a little bit like that. Obviously, everything I said wasn't true because I'm not a victim of that, so I can't speak on it. But obviously, it's not true. But it's funny, like even me doing that, I know that my mom will call or text and be like, I can't believe you did that. How could you do that? Like, nobody knows you, Mom. Nobody's going to like see you. None of your friends listen to this. So it's like, there's no reason to be embarrassed, but you'll still be embarrassed that I did that. Like nobody's going to like see you at Publix and be like, Miss Lenoci, I listened to your son's podcast this evening and I think you're a disgusting human being. What if someone actually knew my mom and listened to my podcast, but my mom didn't know they listened to the podcast, and then for whatever reason they stopped listening at the part where I said I was just kidding? Or maybe they would never believe it anyways because they know my mom. If you meet my mom, she's like the sweetest person you'll ever meet, and she's British. She says she's British, but I don't know if she really is. I mean, she was born in England and all her family's in England, and we've been there to visit them, but she could be lying. Who knows? She's a big liar. All right, enough with the messing with the my mom part, but either way, what was I talking about? We got to the Milanos. Oh, football. Football's a big part of what's going on. And then, so that's exciting. And we got a list of things going on here. We got a list of things I want to go into. I got some things. I got another story about my mom. That's funny because I didn't even right off the top. I'm just riffing around. Shout out to my friend Shirley who painted this. That very beautiful, very beautiful. I love it. It's amazing. So anytime I get new artwork or something, I'll put it up as long as it's not too big. Switch up the background of a little bit of the podcast. So, that being said, oh, cool. We are officially sponsored by Manscaped. And so don't mind my reads, guys. We did it. A lot of you guys helped me look good. And my relationship with Manscaped will continue to grow. So remember, go to manscaped.com. Use promo code TAKEOVER for 20% off. And you guys are doing great. You guys are doing great. And I'm doing great. And we're all feeling better, right? And I just start crying. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's how we're going to start because we're excited because like football's starting. Miami Heat advance to the next playoffs. And again, I don't want to go too far into sports because, I know that a lot of you listen to this because you're not here for sports information, but I have a lot of information on sports. Like I could give you my predictions of what's going to happen this week in football, which nobody knows because there's been no preseason. But we're not going to go too far into sports because this, even though this is a sports podcast that never talks about sports. But there are a lot of things I want to bring up that are exciting. Dating stuff. I'm doing each episode has been a little bit more details of dating because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm dating and my mission. I have a mission. I have goals. I wrote down. Listen, I'm not. Here's the thing. And we could put some music on right now to motivate us, okay? Because this is gonna motivate you guys a little bit because I want to get you guys motivated. But here's the deal. When anytime I'm working on something or working on myself or want to get better, I always have goals. I've always had goals, and I have weekly goals. Weekly goals aren't anything crazy. It's just being like, oh, what do I want to do this week? I want to finish this week. I want to make sure, like, even if it's like me writing on my calendar, hey, I want to go to this show this week. You know what I mean? Like I have weekly goals, I have monthly goals, I have yearly goals. And then I have career goals, and they're always in my head. I don't really actually write them out. I know people say you should write them out, but recently I did write down 3 specific goals that I want to have in place or happening or the ball is rolling with these certain things with a year from this date. So that was the first time I actually wrote them down, and I don't know. I have them. I remember 3. I think there was 4, but specifically was living in my own place, having my idea of what my own place is going to be, being in a relationship. And that's true, women. I want to be in a relationship. I do want to be in a relationship, and I've worked on myself to get rid of things that I think hold me back from being in a relationship, because part of me would tell myself, I'll get into that in a second. I don't have it here to keep me on track, but let's hope I remember that. But part of it is having my own place, being in a relationship, and working on the road, doing stand-up on the road, like having multiple weekends every month working. So that's a year from now, assuming things are back to normal, that will happen. And I wrote them down, and I'm going to work on myself and everything I have to do to get to those 3 specific goals to be there in September of 2021. Assuming COVID shit is for sure gone by then. And I believe it will be, so I don't want to scare you guys and make you think, oh, does he know something we don't? I don't know anything. You guys know everything more. I'm here to learn from you. But specifically, when it comes to relationships, I used to always be like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship. I'll date. I'll casually date. And I kind of hinted on this last week about how, like, I live in the moment and I'll see what happens. Yes, that's true still. But I also would always tell myself, I would get scared of if I got too serious with a girl, because then I would think that they were going to rely on me to be there emotionally all the time. And it would take up a lot of the time from stand-up and other things I wanted to pursue in my career. So I would get scared, and then somehow I would block out trying to move forward with a successful relationship. And there's a couple girls over the last few years that I feel like they got away. There's a couple girls I have in mind, and I'm like, well, man, we were dating and I fucked that up. I didn't realize what I had or what I was in. And I'm a strong believer that you can fall in love with multiple people. There's not like, there's not the one for everyone. Like, some people are like, I found my soulmate. That's great. That's awesome. I'm so happy that you believe that. But there's so many people, and there's so many different types of people, and we don't only like a specific type of person. You can fall in love with multiple people throughout your whole life. And I strongly believe that that's a fact. I don't think that you have a soulmate. I think when you do get married and you are in a successful relationship and you've been married for 40, 50 years, sure, you could say that's your soulmate, but it doesn't mean that, like, if you didn't end up marrying that person, that you wouldn't have met someone else. Like, it's just like nobody's exactly the same. And so if you're down about a breakup or something, like, it doesn't mean that there's not another person that is just as special as that person you think was just as special. That's something to always remember in a breakup. I remember breakups are tough, especially if you're getting dumped. Like, you think, no, in my eyes, they were perfect. They were the one. It's like there's so many people. I've had feelings for so many. I'm 36. In the last 16 years, I met so many girls that I've thought about, like, oh, wow, I really like this person. But everyone's different. So there isn't just one person you could fall in love with. But that being said, there are a couple girls that I feel like, man, they would have helped me. They would have been a good girlfriend. They would have been supportive no matter where I was at in my career. They were good people, and something instinctively I look for in women is someone that I think would be a good mother. And I get that, I think, from my parents, because I remember talking with my dad. I was like, why, were you like me? Were you a fuck boy when you were? He said he never was. He just wanted someone that he thought would be a good wife and mother. So that's why he found my mom. My mom's she's a good mother. So I guess that's what I look for in women. Someone who I think that is family oriented and would be a good mother, which I think, most mothers would hopefully be good, better than, what I described earlier as my mom was, which is a joke. But so there's a couple of women I think I'm like, wow, if I was just more present in those situations that I was dating with them, maybe that I would I would still be together with them, and who knows where my life was. Maybe they would have helped me with my career, maybe because they were so supportive of that, and they still are. I'm friends with them too, but they're in relationships or something. But there are a couple that I'm like, wow, if I was more open and not so stubborn, I could have been in a successful relationship. But I was so closed off to thinking like, no, I can't put time into dating because my priorities are I'm just very selfish, and I want to work on myself and stand up. But I think kind of like during COVID and everything that's gone on this year, I do believe that I was a little closed-minded towards relationships, because I thought that being in a relationship could only hurt your dreams. And that could be true. I'm not positive, but it is hard when you are chasing someone. And I don't know if a lot of you guys can relate to this. I don't know, some of you might just have a regular 9-to-5 job, and you go to work, and your whole passion and your dream is to be a family, to have a family with someone you love. So you don't even work is second to you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I'm different or better, or anyone's better than anyone else. I'm just saying I could understand that if I lived in the suburbs of anywhere in the United States, I lived in the suburbs, and I was a financial advisor, or I was working for my brother-in-law or one of my buddies, just like doing the same thing that they do, or working for one of their companies. Like, that's not my priority. Would be like finding someone I could share a life with and have a family. And that would be, something a little bit that I would care about more. That would be my number one priority, her. And then work would be like 3. You know what I mean? It'd be my wife, my girlfriend, whatever the situation is, my family, and then like work is just to make a living, to provide for the family, as opposed to how difficult and hard it is to pursue a dream and, for instance, stand up or acting or music or anything like that. Like, for me, it's like I have to have no back door, and not give up, and I can't have anything pull me away from this. Like, and I have to achieve my goals, and when I do, then I can look for the other thing that would be settling down, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but just to let you know that's part of what I think a lot of artists deal with, is like, you don't want to, you're afraid that if you put energy into anything that's not what you're trying to achieve artistically, that it will ruin your chances of achieving your goals or your dreams, and they won't come true. So there's that fear, and that I think a lot of comedians or artists struggle with. So that might be part of it. But like this whole year, thinking back about everything that's gone on, and been thinking, I was just like, one of my dreams was to, and still is, to have a family. Like, I want that. Like, in my head, I think about like, oh yeah, it would be great to, I'd love to be married and have 2-3 kids. Like, that would be awesome. But I also think about like, well, I don't want to have 2-3 kids and it be stressful and a struggle, and me trying to provide for them a great life. Or like, I don't want to have kids, and I don't want to have kids unless I can give them a better life than what I had. And I didn't have a bad life. So now the standards and expectations are even higher. Like, I had a great life, and I know that I could at any point go just call it quits and have a normal life and go live in the suburbs of Florida or any other state, Austin. I could live anywhere and live in the suburbs and make $70,000 doing something, sales or whatever, and then meet someone and then have a normal, good life, and the kids would have a great life. But then I know that I wouldn't be happy. And then if I'm not happy, then that's going to translate to the kids, and that wouldn't be fair. But I also know that living the way I'm living right now, I couldn't provide for kids right now. So that's why part of me mentally, when I'm dating someone, I'm like, well, if I feel like this girl has different expectations for this relationship than I do, then that will make me not want to pursue the relationship any longer, because I'm like, well, that makes dating harder too. For I'm 36. And I know I don't look 36, guys. I know it's because I've been starting to put a little cream under my eyes and stuff like that. But I'm saying you got to understand how dating is for people at my age, And it doesn't have, you don't have to be in the arts, but maybe you're in a big city, or maybe you're pursuing something. Like, I'm 36. Like, I don't know. I don't want to upset anyone, but I'm not going to date a girl my age. I'm just not going to date a girl my age. She has different expectations. A girl my age, if I meet a girl my age, she's going to want to, like, everything's going to move fast forward. Like, she's like, when you're older, you don't have to date someone as long to know if it's a good fit. Like, when you're 21, you meet someone, you date them for 4 or 5 years, then you get engaged and you get married. You're with them for a long time. You're like, okay, for sure. But you also don't really know yourself the same way when you're 26 as you do 36. Like, I know myself so well. That's what's great about your 30s. Your 30s are the best part of your life so far. At least for me, they have been. I don't know what my 40s will be like, but, like, I love the way I think and feel, and my opinions are, like, what you grow in or mold into, if you can identify your flaws and work on them, but it's exciting to, like, know how what you are as a person and know yourself. So I think, like, when you date in your 30s, you don't have to date for 4 or 5 years to know if you could marry someone. I could date someone for a year. I could date someone for 6 months and be like, okay, I could spend a long time with you. I don't know if it's going to work out. No one does in any relationship, no matter what age it is. But I could understanding what I like to do, and like, I have my ways, understanding if I would mesh well with someone. My point is, like, where I'm at in life, I'm looking for a teammate. It's almost like that. I'm looking for a teammate that is going to help me and my goals, but I'm also going to be supportive of their goals as well. But I think it's harder for people, like, at 36, I'm not going to be able to date a girl who's my age. It's just not going to work out because I don't want to feel pressured or rushed into something. And I think women at my age that are single, if they haven't been married and they don't have kids, their expectations are, they really do want to settle down and probably start a family. That's, like, the next thing in their life, probably pretty soon. As opposed to if I meet a girl who's 26, yeah, we're 10 years apart. Awesome for me. Let's not forget the American dream, guys. Awesome. It's awesome, but, like, it's also like, okay, she's kind of just starting out in the real world. You know, she has her own goals and stuff. I don't think she's necessarily rushing to get married or have a family. You know, it also depends. Like, if you meet a girl who's her friends are all married, like, this is for sure. I watched this happen to so many girls I went to college with. At any time there's a group of girlfriends and they all get engaged, get married, if there's one that's not, I swear to God, I feel like I'm 7 for 7 with this in different groups of friends, of girlfriends. If the last one who doesn't get married, when they do meet a guy, it happens so fast. Okay, like, you graduate college. I'm all over the place. I know I am, but whatever. This is all fucking interesting. I like talking about relationships and dating. I find it fascinating. So here's the deal. After you graduate college, what are you, 22, 23, 24? You're around that age range. There's always someone first that gets engaged and then gets married. Like, my sister was one of the first out of her group of friends. She got married at 26, which is early from our generation. Not when our parents were growing up, they were getting married at 21. That was just different times. Now, each generation's going to get married later and later because people want to be financially, they want to, like, achieve their own goals first before they even deal with that. So, anyways, earlier, 24, 25, 26, you're starting to get the first group of people who are getting married. By the time you get to 30, mostly everybody in that group of friends is, like, engaged or getting married. And then if you're not, you start separating from those groups of friends, because married couples are going to hang out with other married couples, and then the ones who are single are going to hang out with other single women because they're going to go out and they want to hunt. They want to hunt for their man. But the point is, if there's a strong group of girlfriends, and let's say there's 5 of them, and the first one got married at 26, then the other one at 28, another one at 28, and then there's 2 left. The minute these last 2 or the last one, the minute they meet a guy, that they're not dating for 4 or 5 years. It's less than 2 years before they start getting that ring. It happens quicker because they want to be a part of that life. They all want to grow their lives together. They don't want to be like. So I'm not saying that there's any right or wrong way to do it, but it's just funny that's the social pressure that is put on them. They're like, well, they're all married, and I want to make sure I have a family when they have a family so that we could all still hang out and our families grow together. Like, that's a dream for women and maybe some guys. I think less for guys. Like, all my guy friends, like my buddy Jay has 4 kids. He had kids first. Then my buddy Evan has kids, but they're still babies. And then my other 2 buddies, Tim and AJ, they're not even married. They're not even married yet. Like, guys are just like, yeah, well, we'll just go at our own pace. It's just way different, whereas like a group of girlfriends, like they all want to have the family together and grow together. So that being said, the dating pool for me, ideally, listen, I've dated a girl who was 24 recently. And when I say dated, it's like 3 months, 2 months. We're dating. We're hanging out. She sleeps over, whatever. I've done that. And there is a huge difference. I mean, 12 years is like, what are we talking about? Like, there's just like, if she's smarter, it helps. But like, there's just like certain things that the way they believe things or what offends them, it's just totally different. It's way different, but not to where like I can't deal with it. But my ideal dating range would be like 27 to 30. 27 to 30. A girl from 27 to even 31 would be fine, as long as she's not super crazy about knowing like, hey, you have plenty of time. Like, if you're a woman and you're 31, you have plenty of time. You're not running out of time. The biological clock, you're going to be fine. I know people who have had kids at 39. So 27 to 31 is a good, because at 27, she's graduated college. She's been out in the real world about 4 to 5 years, and she's about making paper, dude. She knows how to make paper. She knows how to like get her shit together. Like, she's independent. I like having a woman who's a little bit independent. Like, I know that if I meet a girl and she's like 26 or 27 and she's like into social media and she's an actress, that I want to say actress because there are some hardworking, mature, hustler actresses out there, but like a lot of the women, like let's say from 24 to 27, 28, you just have these fucking bimbos in LA. There's a lot of beautiful women that just love attention. They're all about the Instagram life, and I'll trick myself into being like, yeah, I could date this girl. And then you hang out with them and you're like, what am I fucking doing? Like, this is a fucking asshole. This person's just as much as an asshole as I am. Like, what they're in a fucking La La Land bubble. So it's like, this isn't going to work out. What are we really doing? Like, is this girl going to be a good mother? Is this going to be like, what is this girl's goals? What, like, dude, there's so many girls out there, very beautiful, and some of them have awesome personalities, but they're just like here waiting for the opportunity to be handed to them. Just like, I'm hot and I'm fun to hang out with, so let's see what happens. There's like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you like? They're missing that part. I could have fun with them, but like they're missing that little part. So where am I going with this? The hardest is if you're a woman and you're like my age, if you're a 36-year-old woman and you're making 6 figures and you're a boss and you're a hustler, very hard. That you have the smallest dating pool. Women who are financially successful, who are making more money than a lot of men, they have the smallest dating pool. Because let's be honest, a very successful woman who's a boss, who works hard and is a hustler, that's an alpha mentality. That's an alpha personality. She's aggressive, she's assertive, she's hardworking. That's alpha for a woman. So that type of woman is going to want an alpha guy who's also assertive, hardworking, doing good financially, right? That makes sense. Let's put that together. That's what that woman, an alpha woman, is going to want, that alpha guy. Here's the problem. That alpha guy who's assertive, hardworking, making good money, is a boss, is not going to want to deal with the personality of that alpha woman. But that's what she wants. She wants that guy, but he doesn't want that. Why? No. I want a wife, a mother, like someone who, I got you. I'll take care of you. That's what that alpha guy wants. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it, babe. Just be home. And like, I want to hang out with you, and just like, I'll plan everything. Like, you know what I mean? You can cook and stuff or whatever. Like, but he's like, I just want you to like be my cuddle bear. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to want that assertive personality that, like, if this alpha guy dates that alpha girl and they disagree, and she's like, well, this is how he's gonna be like, well, I don't want to deal with that. I don't have to deal with that. I don't need your money. I don't need your alpha personality, because I want to come home and I want to unplug and relax, and I want a nice girl who's just at home waiting for me. Like that's naturally what someone wants. I'm not saying all men who are alphas like that want that. Maybe they want that. There are couples that are just a power couple, and all power to them. That works. But most men, like, my dream is to, achieve my goals, and I want to have a wife that doesn't have to work. I'm into a wife that has goals and wants to work hard towards something. I like that. If she has her own hobbies, that's fine. If she wants to work, awesome too. But I want to be in a position where I could be like, you don't have to. You have that option. I want to be able to give her that option. But so I do like what I'm trying to articulate, but I'm saying that alpha guy doesn't necessarily want that. So that already eliminates a lot of the things that alpha woman wants are harder to get, because there's very little, there's a smaller pool of guys that will actually want to date that, is what I'm trying to say. And now this alpha woman dating down, women already, because of society, don't want to date down. She doesn't want to date down. She doesn't want to date a beta. I mean, again, now there's a pool of those alpha women that will date a beta, but they're not into that. They don't want to date a guy who's just like, oh, I'm a substitute teacher. Like that's not going to fly. Or a guy who's like sensitive and I don't really care about sports. I read books or whatever. You know what I mean? I sound like an idiot. But I'm just saying they want an aggressive guy. There's very few of those women that want like a beta guy. That is what I'm trying to say. And I've asked this because I know a lot of alpha women. I've asked them before. I go, you need an alpha guy. And they're like, of course I do. Of course I do. But those alpha guys don't want you. So they have the smallest window. An alpha guy fucking has the biggest pool of women he could choose from. He can choose to have the alpha woman if he could deal with it, but he doesn't have to. So those women, I feel that's the hardest. There's a lot of them out there. And they have to deal with that. Like where they're going to be the breadwinner of the house, the man of the house. They're going to wear the pants. They're going to be telling their husband what to do. They're going and they don't want to do that because they do that at work. So they want to come home and they want to like have that feeling of being taken care of. That's just something that we've been raised. That's how we were raised. I mean, and that will change over generations. But, you know, I don't know if this all makes sense to you. But if it does, then great. Then we're doing great. Then we're doing great work. I mean, we're flying through this episode. More episode. Here's what's up. What I've noticed about my podcast is the episodes where I have less planned do better. If I try to plan the podcast, then it's like I'm trying to structure it. It doesn't flow right. But this one feels great because I'm talking about some shit that I have opinions about. And, you know, whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you guys are good teammates and you're here to stay and you check out the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/thetakeover. Here's the link and join the team. Join the team and give me your fucking money. And then I put up extra episodes every week. Give me your fucking money. You fucking motherfuckers. Hey, how about this? If you're on YouTube and you're watching, subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you. And also in the top right corner, you can click the Patreon image or icon. Click the icon and you could join the Patreon there if you want. That's cool. Make sure you leave a 5-star review. If you guys are listening, please leave a 5-star review. I hate to keep bugging you, but this fucking helps me. It doesn't take that long to do it. If you just go, you can click the icon. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a 5-star review. If you're listening, you could do it while you're listening. It's not that big of a deal. Stop being a fucking asshole, dude. Hey, dude, stop being an asshole. What else? What else is going on? Yeah, so here we are. I'm living now. I finally went into the notes. Here we are, 40 fucking minutes into the podcast, and I'm looking at my first notes. That's how crazy we were flowing. Mom, I'm sorry I said the F word. I said the F word too much there. And you know why? If I'm trying to think about what to say, then I'll say the F word. And I do that with stand-up sometimes. But I got some stand-up ideas, I'll tell you that. I've been living with a secret my whole life, and it's kind of like the same secret as like maybe I'm gay. I'm not gay. I promise. I haven't tried it, but I know I'm not gay because my buddy Thomas Dale tries to make me gay, and it's disgusting. Fuck you, Thomas. Sorry, Mom, for saying fuck. But I've been living with a secret for a long time. And I'm not saying it's the same as coming out of the closet. That's totally different, and I'm not taking credit away from that, and I'm sure that's hard. My secret is a little bit different. All right? It's a little bit different, but I'm ready to come out and admit it. I'm ready to come out and admit it. Okay? I grew up in South Florida, and you know, watching sports with my dad. We were a Miami fan, Miami Heat, Florida Marlins, Miami Dolphins, and, you know, Miami Hurricanes. We watched the Miami Hurricanes play a lot and growing up, and it was awesome, and we would cheer for them, and that's who we cheered for. And there's a lot of Florida teams. There's the Florida Gators, the Florida State Seminoles, and the Miami Hurricanes, the big three growing up. And over time, UCF's really made a name for themselves, and USF a little bit. So you got five big colleges now that do good for football, but I would say the big three, FSU, UF, they have the rich history. Grew up a Miami fan. Miami football was just like, it was a football town growing up in South Florida. So I was a Hurricanes fan, not knowing where I would end up going to college. I graduated high school, I ended up going to FSU. I go to Florida State, and Florida State's a big rivalry with UF and and they would play the Hurricanes. And I remember when I first got there, I was just like, I had mixed feelings. I was like, man, it's weird because, like, I will always cheer for my teams, but this is weird because it's like you go to the school now. So it was weird. It was like, it's kind of like, man, if you're a fan of a team and then you become a professional athlete and you get drafted by another team, well, that's your favorite team. Do you like? I always wonder, do athletes still cheer for a team even though they're not on it because they grew up and that was their that was their favorite team? So I would go to the games and I would cheer for Miami, but secretly, because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want to start a fuss with anyone. So like I would just go to the games and I would watch the games, but inside I would keep my emotion and be like, I go Miami, but it was a secret. I couldn't let people know. I couldn't, you know, I had to keep it inside because I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't want to let people know my real secrets. So it's kind of like, you know, coming out of the closet. And the thing is, when I was at FSU from 2003 to 2008, 5th year senior, that's what's up. FSU was in their downfall. Like, that's when Bobby Bowden was retiring. Like, it was just the end of his run. So they weren't that good for me to get excited about FSU. They didn't get really good till after I graduated. And they won the national championship, I think it was 2011 or 12. Now, that being said, I do cheer for FSU. I cheer for them all the time, and I get excited watching their games because I think about, like, FSU in Tallahassee. Like, what a fun time it was. It was some of the best years of my life. So I think about that. And when I watch them play, it's nostalgic, and I reminisce about being at FSU. But that being said, I'm a fucking Hurricanes fan. And this is the first time I'm ever just going to say it out loud. I was like, I love the Hurricanes. And I'll always love the Hurricanes. They just haven't been relevant in the last 10 years the way they used to be. But when they get good again, I fucking am all about them. And when Miami and FSU play, I cheer for whoever has the best chance of making the playoffs. That's how I do it. That's the way I do it now. It's like, okay, who wins this? Who has the best chance of making the playoffs? Then I'll go for them. But that being said, I'm a fucking Hurricanes fan, and I feel so refreshed to come out and say that because I graduated from FSU, and it's been a struggle for my whole life. Like, I had to keep that inside, but here I am telling everyone publicly I am a Miami Hurricanes fan. I grew up on that, and I cried for them growing up, and I sweated for them, and I bled for them, and I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. And in my head as a kid, I was like, I'm going to go to Miami for college. And then you realize when you get older, you can't go to Miami. It's like a private school, and it's for rich kids and also for people who want to become doctors. So I wasn't going to be a doctor, clearly. So I went to FSU. So FSU, I love you, but I'm a Hurricanes fan, and then I'm a Seminoles fan. And then, you know, I just feel like I had to get that out of the way. And, you know, I know my mom doesn't care, but It's the first time she's hearing that, and I hope she understands, and she will understand. She knew I was a big fan of that. About this. So this is funny because both me and my roommate, we're on all the dating apps and we're dating. Back to the dating thing. He's on Bumble too, and it's funny. Sometimes he'll match with like a girl who I've hooked up with before, and I'm in one of his profile pictures. So I think that's interesting too. He's like, "Did you hook up with her?" I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "But who cares?" And he doesn't care either because he's not necessarily looking to date that person. Would you be able to date someone that one of your friends has slept with? That's a question for you guys. Would you? Now, at a younger age, I would not be able to because I would think about this. This is the one thing that would bother me. I was like, what if I met a girl that slept with one of my close friends? I couldn't date them because in my head, this specific scenario, if I fall in love with her and we get married and we're sitting at the altar and one of my groomsmen has slept with the girl I'm sitting at the altar with, I'll get mad that he can think in his head, not that he is thinking this, but in his head he could be like, I slept with the girl at the altar. I don't like that he could think that. I don't like that he could think that. So that specific reason that would only happen for a minute in our whole lives, that is the whole reason why I could never date a girl that slept with one of my good friends. Because of that. If there was no wedding, then I would be like, who cares if he's thinking that? But I can't, my ego won't let me date a girl just because also if she's around and we're all hanging out, we're having a good time, he could think, haha, I've slept with your girlfriend. No, fuck you, bro. You're not going to have that. I'm not going to let you have that over me. I'll fucking play you one-on-one in basketball, and if you beat me, I'll shake your hand. But I am not going to let you sit in the same room as me and my girlfriend and even think one time, oh, I've slept with her one time. Nope, fuck you, bro. That's not fair. That's not fair, and you won. And I don't like that. So that's why I couldn't date someone that slept with one of my good friends. Now, as a 36-year-old, I don't give a fuck. But when I was 24, I would definitely care. I don't think I would care as much now. I don't care. It's just because, like, you realize that's not a big deal. Why would you let one little thing stop what could be a magical thing with someone else? Or I should say, for some of you believers, a soulmate. So, anyways, back to my roommate. So he's dating, and I always make fun of him because when he goes on a date, it's just like he combs his hair, he puts on a nice outfit, he sprays himself, he makes himself look all sharp and stuff. It's like the way he gets ready for it is so, it's like Love on the Spectrum. It's very, I can't explain it other than that. He looks like Michael from Love on the Spectrum. If you've watched Love on the Spectrum, it's the most amazing show. The beginning is better, the first few episodes. I think there's like 6 episodes. The first 3 are great because Michael's in it, and he's my favorite character on there. I don't want to say character because they're real people. It's not like a fake show. It's about people on the spectrum that are going on dates and trying to find love. It's an amazing show. I loved it. And this guy Michael, man, I swear to God, he's a star. He could have his own show, to be honest. Like he's hilarious. He's blunt. He's honest. He's so funny. He's adorable. So that's what my roommate was reminding me of when he went on a date. But it's funny is like, we'll go on dates. I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to hang out with this girl. It's just like a routine for me at this point, just trying to meet someone. And then, he'll go on a date. And the next day I'll wake up and I'm not going to go push him like, hey, how did it go? Sometimes I have, but I also like him to like, if it didn't go well, I don't want to walk in and be like, how did it go? And then him be like, well, like I don't want to put that on him. So sometimes like, especially if he puts all this work into getting ready for this date, I'm like, oh, this is adorable. So I don't want to be like, oh, how did it go? And it doesn't go well. And then just he gets down on himself. So sometimes I don't say anything and I'm like, oh, I'll wait for him to like tell me about his night. So he went on this date recently and I went out, and then I wake up the next day and, we're going on with our day. I see him all the time and we talk, we hang out all the time. He's like one of my best friends. And he doesn't bring it up, and I don't bring it up, and we go the whole day. I go a whole day. He doesn't bring it up. The next day comes, and we just never talked about it. Even today, this is my first time bringing it up. But he went on a date, And usually I'm like, how did it go? But I didn't this time, and he never brought it up, and he still hasn't. And I have no idea what happened. And I just think it's hilarious that, like, for all I know, he fucking murdered her. Like, it's so murdery. That's not a word, I know, but it's so serial killer to go on a date and then not tell your roommates about it and just not bring it up at all. It's like, oh, did you murder someone tonight? Like, how do you not, like, even be like, oh, that was awful or that was good? Like, I just thought it was so funny to, like, not address the date. Like, to not address it makes me go, what illegal shit did you do? Like even if I was like, oh, I'm going on a big date with this girl, and I came back and I was like, she was all right, I wasn't feeling it, or it was fun, we had a good time, I went back to her place, we hooked up, whatever, you know what I mean? But like to just not bring it up after getting all dressed up and fancy, like this was a big date, and then he just doesn't say anything about it. It either went really bad or he fucking murdered her. That's how I see it. That's just what I'm like. How do you not bring it up? Even if it didn't go well, just be like, yeah, it wasn't well. But if it went great, he would have talked about it. But if he fucking killed her, he for sure wouldn't talk about it. My PlayStation broke. It just stopped working because I traveled with it and I fucking didn't check it. So I use Xbox right now, which I'm not proud of. But I know I'm addicted to video games because PlayStation, your controller charges, and then if it runs out, you just plug it in. That attaches to the PlayStation. Xbox is not like that. You have to put batteries, or it has a battery on there that charges, which is so stupid. But like, if it runs out of batteries, I freak out really fast, and I've never looked for batteries quicker than to put batteries back in the controller. Like, that makes me realize I'm addicted, because like it won't just shut off and I'm like, oh cool, let me find. I go like, it shuts off if I'm playing Madden, and then my hands shake, and I do it like a crackhead. I literally act like a crackhead trying to find batteries to get the fucking I feel better, to get the feel of me playing the video game. That's how I knew I was addicted. Great. Why did I even bring that up? That was a great part of the fucking podcast. No reason to even tell that story. As I said it, I go, this is stupid. This is going to go nowhere. Why am I doing that? And I'm all about living with mistakes. I have made so many mistakes in my life. Mom's laughing at this part for sure. Made so many mistakes in my life. I live with them, and I let you guys learn from them. Learn from my mistakes. So whatever. I made a mistake. Didn't need to bring that up. It was just something that I thought it would be funny to talk about. And then as I'm saying, I go, this is stupid. Why would anyone care that you're addicted to video games and the way you play? So stupid. There was one more thing I was going to talk about, was just about how I was thinking about how in middle school, what age are you in middle school? In middle school, man, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. I hope. If you haven't, I'm sorry. But like, you know, right before school started, which is right now, I was looking at this because I saw my sister post, you know, or people posting pictures of like their first day back at school, because now more schools are letting kids back in. I had before in the summer, like right a month before, like up until like maybe high school, my mom would take me clothes shopping for school. Like at the beginning of the school year, we would get clothes. And in middle school, even in elementary school, I always wanted to be a part of the popular crew. Whether it was, no matter what. In elementary school, it was like, who are the best athletes? So then I would hang out with them, and I would want to be one of the best athletes. In middle school, for me, it's 95, 96, 97, right? Those are the 3 years I'm in middle school. So in Florida, I don't know how they do school in your states, but it was kindergarten through 5th grade. That's elementary school. The middle school was 6th, 7th, 8th. And then we had high school, 9 through 12. I know that in some states or wherever, it's just, you know, 8 through 12. And I don't know. There's just different schooling. You know what I mean? The way they set it up. In Florida, that's how it was. So I was in middle school for those 3 years, and for whatever reason, that's a weird age, because I think you are, if I'm not mistaken, you're 11, 12, you're 12, 13, 14 in middle school. So you're going through puberty, you're trying to, you have a lot of emotions. It's scarier. I remember my first time going to middle school, I'm like scared of getting in fights. I was scared. I was a mama's boy, so I was like, okay, I might sneeze. That's why I'm looking like this. Corona. So I remember, whatever reason, the cooler kids in my middle school in South Florida were like the kids who would wear FUBU or Echo, or like just dress like rappers, or were into like just not giving a fuck. It wasn't like, whereas in high school it's like if you were a good student and you're preppy and you work out and you dress well, that's popular. That's more popular in high school. In high school, you're like, okay, I was always a class clown, but like dressing nicely and being like, you're not a fucking loser who just skips school and stuff. Like, that wasn't the popular kid. But in middle school, it's cooler to be bad. From what at least growing up, it was cooler to be bad. It was like, ooh, he smokes weed. I want to smoke weed in middle school. And that's when I first tried pot, was when I was in 7th or 8th grade. Now, that was cooler. Like, more girls were gravitating towards that. I always was like, women are gravitating towards those kids. Like, so I'd hang out with those kids, and we were like, we would have a fake gang. We didn't. It's the suburbs of South Florida. It's a good neighborhood, but like, we made a fake gang. We're in a gang where we jumped each other in, but you couldn't hit each other in the face. We were just punching each other in the bodies, and we were like, yeah, we're cool. And like, I would go school shopping with my mom, and we would go to this place, and she bought me all this streetwear, like this fucking like baggy jeans. Like, this was the thing in the 90s. If you go look at like how people dress, like jean shorts that would go down to my shins, all right? And then big baggy shirts. Like, I wish I had a picture I could find, but I don't. And like, I would have like just a bunch of like gangster rap looking fucking clothes that were way too big for me, that I would wear for fucking 3 months, and it was just a waste of money. It was just so stupid, but like, it was so cool. But I remember this one time, I'm in middle school, maybe going into 7th or 8th grade, and I'm with my mom at the mall, and she's buying me all these clothes, hundreds of dollars worth of clothes. And then we're leaving, and as we're leaving, I see a bunch of kids hanging out at the mall that I went to school with, and they're like in a circle rapping or something, like trying to rap. And I remember I walked over because my mom was in the store checking out or whatever, and I was like listening, hanging out with them, and my mom walks out, and she's like, come on, Michael. And I was just like, all right, cool, see you, bros, like trying to act cool and hard as I walk away with my mom holding bags of clothes that she bought for me. Like, there's nothing more hilarious to me than like trying to be cool, but you're also walking away with your mom who bought you all these clothes to make yourself look cool. Great. Why did I tell that story too? I love when I share ideas that I think are funny, and then as I say them out loud, I go, well, it's not that funny. It's not that funny. Maybe you should have kept it to yourself. But Mom, thank you for being a good mother like that. But also, what were you thinking? Why did you should have been like, no, I'm not buying you these stupid fucking clothes that I wore once. I realized maybe like 4 months later, I was like, God, this isn't me. This isn't me. I'm wearing like a FUBU. What was the other one? No, not Calvin Klein. It was like, man, I forgot all of them. Dude, I used to have this button up that you would wear. You just wear white t-shirts with a button up open. And you were just like, yo, what's up, dude? This is my life. Yeah. Eminem. What a fucking idiot I was. And then by the time I got to high school, I started working out, and I wanted to be like a preppy cool kid. What a bitch I was. Or as Chris would say, a cuda. I was a cuda growing up, man. I was a fucking cuda. And then like in high school, I wanted to be that. And then when I got to college, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, I want to be a frat. I want to be in the cool frat. What I wish I had the knowledge I do today when I was. That's the difference between certain people. Like there's certain college kids that have the mentality of a 36-year-old, and that's why they succeed. They have it all figured out. They're just smarter. If I had my brain today when I was in college, it's over, man. I remember when YouTube first started, I was in college, man. If I would have stuck to my guns, I remember we made one YouTube video. If I would have just kept making YouTube videos from 2006, 7 till today, dude, I would have $100 million in my bank account. I would have just been making stupid fucking videos. But I was just too busy fucking partying, having a good time. What's this episode going to be called? Did we figure it out? What's it going to be called? Dating apps? Who knows? That's a horrible name for a title for a thing. But I'm excited to go to Denver. That's cool. That's this weekend with Fahim. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I don't know if any of you, I'm looking for an animator for a bit. I have. So if any of you guys are animators or know someone, I'm looking for it. I've been hitting up a couple people on social media. That would help me out a lot. You could hit me up on the Takeover Pod. The Takeover Pod on Instagram. Also follow it. That's where I'll post shit. Also, I did the 5-star reviews, the Patreon, listening to that shit. Finding my goals, finding a wife, and we're still on that journey, guys. We're still on that journey, and we'll see what happens. I think that's it, dude. I think that's it, guys. I mean, I was gonna talk about comedians in the comedy scene a little bit. Like, there's so many thirsty ones out there. If you want to talk about comedy, I don't know if you guys have questions about comedy in the scene and how it is and how people think of each other. I'll talk about that shit. There's a lot of fucking there's a lot of fake ass motherfuckers, I'll tell you that shit. I'll tell you that much. Fake ass motherfucking comedians that I wish I could call out. But I'm not going to do that because it's stupid, because then people will fucking share the clip on Reddit and be like, "Look," and then that other comedian will see it and it will cause more drama. But, all right, so I think we'll go. I mean, unless you guys have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, you know what? Someone did write into the Takeover Pod about something, but I think I just responded on there, the message. I don't know. Coffee's felt good, kicked in. Happy episode 30, man. Happy episode 30. Let's say that. Episode 30 episodes in. That means I've done 30 episodes since quarantine started. COVID started 30 episodes. That's 30 weeks. At least 30. I know some episodes I did 2 episodes a week or 3 episodes a week, but that's crazy. So that means, like, how many months is that? How many times does 4 go into 30? You know what I mean? Is that 8 months? I mean, 8 times? Has it been? No. Wow. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 7 months. 7 months of episodes. 7 months of episodes. And when we started this podcast the way I'm doing it now, I started it thinking, okay, this will last 2 months. And then things will be back, and I'll look up a place to do my podcast at a podcast studio. I'll have a cool setup. We'll have some guests here and there. And here we are, solo. We're solo 30 episodes in a row. I mean, not totally solo. There was a couple episodes where I think I had people in the background or something like that. But that's crazy, because I would like to do guests here and there, and I will. But, I mean, right now it's just like, how do I shoot it with guests? I don't have a studio, but I could go to their place and still shoot it, which I'm open to. But I just think when comedy gets back around and, we're hanging out around the comedy clubs, it'll be easier. I'll be like, yo, would you be down to do my podcast? I would come to your place and do it. So that being said, who never thought I'd be here for 30 episodes, but I did it, and I'm not going to stop. And shout out to you guys for listening and supporting and telling people about the pod. That helps. But, and seeing how far it's come. I don't know how far it's come. Only as somebody observing it can you see the difference. I get nice messages, but, like, what it was from week 1 to week 30, how different it is. Have I gotten better? I sure as hell hope so. I hope I did. Because I know I've gotten better, because I remember when I first started, I think episode 2 was like 38 minutes. And now I could easily go an hour. It's become a lot easier to just kind of talk and think about want to say. But I also just do this throughout the day anyways. I'm like always talking to myself. Sometimes I'll be watching TV and I'll find myself going, and then I realize, wow, my fucking grandpa used to do that. I used to watch him talk to himself watching TV, and I go, wow, so the craziness came from my grandpa. My grandpa's crazy, and I got his craziness, where I talk to myself and I have fake arguments all the time. It's a disease I have that I got to fix. Who has fake arguments? It's unbelievable. I do all the time, and I need to get rid of it. I think that's the beginning of becoming a schizophrenic. Like in 10 years, I'm going to be crazy. That's what it is. I'm going to be arguing with someone over there. And it's like, oh, no. I got to put a stop to it now. So that's the way the cookie crumbles, guys. If you remember that line from Bruce Almighty, that's the way. No, is it Bruce Almighty? Which one's the Jim Carrey one? Because there's two, Jim Carrey and then Steve Carell. Bruce Almighty and then, yeah, it's Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey. And he goes, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And he winks. Remember that movie? Cool. Wow, way to fucking kill the mood in the room, guys. All right, thanks for listening, and I will hear from you guys next week. Maybe I'll do a Denver episode. I always say that when I go away, maybe I'll do another podcast on the road, but I'll probably just do a Patreon episode because I'll film stuff on my camera, on my cell phone, and then I'll just use that for the Patreon. That's what I actually usually do. But because I'm only gone for 2 days. If I was gone for like 4 or 5 days, I would actually bring all the equipment and then record a podcast. That would be fun. Maybe I'll still do it. Maybe because there will be nothing to do in the day, I'll get Fahim to do an episode with me and we'll do a hotel episode. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I will. So we'll see. I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.